When did we stop being a people? My name is Wangu Kanja, and this is My Dignity Restored. Animals actually protect their own. For those who watch National Geographic, buffaloes protect their own when they're being hunted down by lions or leopards. Giraffe protects their own children. We've become a society that is man-eat-man society. And we need to turn our ways and make it right. Because if animals can protect their own, why not as human beings protect our own? And when I mean our own is when I'm talking, I'm a representation of all the other survivors or people who've gone through one form of sexual and gender-based violence or the other. And we need to help them claim their dignity back. And claiming their dignity back is by speaking out, by calling out those people who are committing those crimes. Because when you hurt someone physically, sexually, it's a crime, and it's a crime against the state. It's not a civil suit where you feel that you have the right and you can call people aside and settle out of court. It's a crime against the state, and people need to understand that. When you have raped someone, when you've defiled a child, it is not a civil suit or thing that you can just wish away. It's a crime, and you need to be held accountable for your actions. And we need to, as Kenyans, we need to come together and hold a number of people accountable. Let's speak every single day, every single second. Let's speak against sexual and gender-based violence. Let all religious institutions start engaging in addressing sexual and gender-based violence. People go to church to seek refuge, and the church is meant to be a safe haven for anyone who's looking for support, who's looking for a friend. And when I mean church, I'm not talking about a building, I'm talking about you and me. We are supposed to protect, we are supposed to come together and speak out and create a safe environment for people to come out and reach out and get the kind of support that they need. We need to speak one language, because violence can happen to anyone. And before we get to a point where it happens to you or it happens to a person that you love and care for, let's start speaking out against it now. Not tomorrow, not the day after, but now. Because for me, I am looking at, we spend so much money in supporting survivors of sexual and gender-based violence to access comprehensive care and support. And we can prevent and use those resources to develop the country, to put up more schools, to have better roads, to make the country a better place. We are not going to be on this earth like forever. We are here just for a short time. And that short time that you have, what are you going to change? What are you going to do so that your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren are going to benefit? When we are losing money as a country, whether it's through corruption, whether it's being extravagant, honestly, when we have survivors of sexual and gender-based violence who've never sought justice, who've never received comprehensive care and support because they are not financially able, because they cannot afford reconstructive surgery, because all the services they need are expensive. But looking at the other side of the coin, we are losing money through corruption. People have decided money is all that matters and they can do anything for that money. Then I think we are losing it and we are losing the point. But we need to evaluate, we need to assess our priorities, because I think we have our priorities all wrong. When we are spending money in celebrations as a country, and the people who were affected in one way or the other, or are continuously being affected by violence that happened or continues happening, I think we are making the wrong, we are making the wrong decisions. Basically we have our priorities all wrong as a country. I'll give you an example. I saw in one of the articles that we are spending over 273 million shillings in state parties, and we don't have a gender crimes unit to investigate cases, to document cases, to store evidence, to protect the witnesses, to support the people who've been affected with medical costs, with psychological support. They cost money, and accessing comprehensive care and support for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence is an expensive affair. And that's why I'm saying we have our priorities all wrong. Instead of having prevention mechanisms in place so that we do not deal with Kenyans being abused, and if they are abused, there are mechanisms to bring these people to book and to be held accountable. There's something wrong. There's something that we are missing out, and we need to evaluate. We need to assess ourselves again and again. It takes annually, as a country, survivors of sexual and gender-based violence and their families spend 46 million shillings to access comprehensive care and support. And those are the people who can afford. What about the people who cannot afford? What happens to them? And this is the naked truth. a woman was, during post-election violence, she was raped. On top of being raped, they poured acid on her. On top of pouring acid on her, they actually inserted, one of those construction metal bars. They inserted the metal bar into her vagina. Can you imagine what that woman has gone through, that lady has gone through to date? She had to get comprehensive care and support, but on top of that, she had to go for reconstructive surgery. Not once, not twice, not thrice, but many times. And every time she went, she actually spent lots of money to regain what she had lost, to claim back her dignity. And what I know is that along the way, she's met people that have, over time, supported her to get reconstructive surgery. That is one case that we know of. What about the so many other cases that we know of, but we are not talking about? We are not letting the whole country know about. Because I know of another woman who was raped, and for her, she became paralyzed from her hip downwards, because the trauma that her body got paralyzed her, and she doesn't have a family. Her neighbors are the ones who actually are looking after her. What happens to her if everyone decides that, you know what, we cannot support you anymore, and she cannot go and look and find for herself because someone decided, or a group of people decided that they can violate her? If you are going through any form of abuse or violations, or if you know of a family member or a friend, please feel free to get in touch with the Wangu Kanja Foundation. Any information that you share with us is confidential. After watching this video, please share with family and friends, so that we can educate and inform as many people as possible. And don't forget to subscribe.